do you hear yourself though? You not gonna come get them?
Okay, first of all, where are my kids at?
They in the house. Why do it matter what they have? You not come get them?
In that case, no, I'm not coming to get them. You took me to court. You damn near made me lose my job. You took these kids out of state. You think I'm not to fucking come and get them?
But where I was gonna take? I live in Georgia. Where I was gonna take them, bro? And did you lose your job? You ain't lose your job, right?
That's what you wanted. You wanted them so bad. Have them. That's what you wanted. Now you got it.
Right. Listen. Oh my God! But when you had custody, bro, I was still there helping. I was still helping when you had custody. Can you come? I gotta work. Can you come get them?
No, I cannot. I'm on my way to Cabo.
Bro, all you listen. All you wanna do is argue, bro. That's why I went to court in the first place. It's cool. Bye, man. I can't do it, bro. Oh my God, unfit mom as fuck, bro. That's why I took the kids in the first place.
Welcome back to VDV. So when he regrets winning custody, so a lot of times guys are trying to fight for custody because not that they want custody of their kids so much and want to take care of the kids, but a lot of times they're angry at the woman and they're trying to get back at that woman. But when they finally win custody and realize what it takes to raise kids, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, however many you have, it takes a lot out of a person to fully raise kids, from time they get up in the morning to doctor's appointments, to getting them to school, to when they're sick, when they're ill, helping with homework, being fed, being clothed, mentally, physically. It is a lot. So guys are finding out what it's like to raise kids now that they have fought for custody. So let's sit back, let's relax, and let's listen to these stories on these guys on winning custody of their kids. Let's continue.
No, when I say I have full custody of my daughter, that means I am pretty much solely responsible for everything day to day when it comes to her. Let me see. There she is, about to go to school. I take her to school every single day. Her mom has never been to her school. Taking nothing away from her mom either. Like, her mom did try to keep me from her, and I took her to court, and it took years, and I did get custody. But this is what I wanted. This is what I chose. And I say all that to say this. I understand I miss out on a lot. I understand that even in some aspects, I hinder myself for the growth and the betterment of my daughter, and I'm okay with that. But, like, I'm a full-time dad, bro. So, like, I don't be having a lot of free time between my businesses and my kid. Like, I take her to her doctor's appointments. I take her to school. I do everything, and I'm happy to do everything. I'm not complaining, but just, you know, it's a difference.
So I'm dropping my son off for his mom's week. She is not answering the phone. FaceTime, phone call, text message, doorbell, at all. It's her week. I have sole legal custody. I call all the shots. She said in court this past Monday, she didn't want nothing to do with him yet again for the 3rd time in court. 4th time, to my knowledge. One of them was through text message. Yeah, I was snooping. I did. She's somewhere on the island, perhaps. Maybe she pulling, one of them stunts where she went there a month ago and now she's posting it. And legit, she's probably in the house just chilling. Not answering her phone, not fulfilling her parental obligation per court order. And so if you really don't want our son, yo, just do not come back, bro. Like, just do not. He didn't even want to get out the car. When he seen where he was at, he did not want to get out the car. He did not want to go to the door. I will not make my son do something he do not want to do. And he didn't want to be around his mother like that. That's cool. I document everything when he's of age and he's able to understand. Son, here it is. Plain and simple. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to let the evidence show you.
This is literally so many women's story, but it's unique to him. And the advice that I'm going to give him in this situation is the same that men often give women in this exact same situation. You should have picked better. You should have chosen better. You should have taken your time to vet that person. For the men who are so quick to be like, man, you can't tell me you didn't know that man wasn't this. You couldn't tell me you didn't know because the man wasn't throwing up gang signs and wearing his pants half off his butt or whatever, that he was going to make a good father. For all of the people who always say that, same. You couldn't tell me this woman that didn't really want to be with you would want to be the mother of your child. I think you're surprised that she pulled that Uno reverse on you and you weren't ready for it. First of all, you shouldn't be having these kinds of conversations in front of your son. I don't care how young he is. You shouldn't have had his unblurred face on the internet while you're telling everybody that the mother told you on more than one occasion that she wanted nothing to do with the son. The video so that we all can know the woman that you chose, or is the video so that she can eventually see it and to feel bad about it? You said that you had no choice but to stalk her, and she's on some island somewhere living her best life. You want this video to go viral. You want it to get to her, and you want her to feel guilty about it. That she beat you to it. Like you petitioned the court to get sole custody, and you got it, but now you're upset that you got it, and she doesn't show any interest in trying to also see the child. Like, I don't know what it is that's going on, but I know that posting your personal business on the internet with your child listening to every single word, whether consciously or subconsciously, he's soaking in the fact that you're having issues with the mother. Then you're going to say, he didn't even want to get out the car when we got here. I wonder why. When the daddy is saying all this in front of the child, that he can sense and feel that you don't like the mom. He can feel a shift in energy. He picks up on that. So stop having these grown conversations in front of that little boy. And let me also say this. She probably told you when she first found out that she was pregnant that she didn't want to be a mother and that she didn't want to have the baby full time. And you're just surprised that even after having had the baby and seen the baby, that she didn't change her mind. You went and got full custody. And that's probably what you said that you would do. Like, just go ahead and have the baby and I'll take the baby. And I think you're surprised that she didn't change her mind. I don't know that, but that's how it's coming across.
So the problem with this is the children will suffer. Like me growing up, my dad had custody of me. He got custody of me when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And from that time on, I never saw a pediatrician again. Christmas time, we didn't have Christmas trees. He never remembered my birthday. And I have a twin sister too. Always forgot my birthday. Like, I did not have a childhood. Like, there was no magic. I wasn't cared for. He did the bare fucking minimum. And like, I remember whenever my twin and I graduated high school, like, she never found him in the crowd. He showed up for a second, you know, because I told him, hey, Dad, you have to come to this. You know, and he's like, why? When I had to be here, it's boring. He had his first kid. He knocked up my mom when she was 17, and he was 21, by the way. And they had 4 kids. We were the youngest. Anywho, she never saw him in the crowd. And, like, she was, like, National Honor Society and everything else. And I was just a honor roll student, but I never went crazy like her with studying because I'm like, whatever, you know. It's not going to get me a scholarship. I'm just going to do my best and, you know, move on. Anywho, I remember him, you know, seeing me in the crowd, and I said hi to him. And he's like, oh, I had no idea you girls were doing so good. I'm like, no shit, because you're always in the bar. And, like, whenever we would get, like, invitations to, like, honor roll banquets at the school or whatever, we would have to, like, hurry up and throw them away in the trash before he saw them, because what would happen is he would see them, he'd be like, oh, do I have to go? And of course, we're like, we worked really hard for our grades and we want to go, so we're honest about it. So then we go and he bitches the entire fucking time. The entire fucking time. He just makes our lives miserable and makes us feel bad for wanting to attend a thing to celebrate our achievements. So in my mind, the way to fix this is not necessarily just to dump all the responsibility onto men, because they won't do it. We should, from day one, 50-50 childcare. Like, I'm currently pregnant right now. I'm 8 weeks. I'm gonna be pumping that milk out, you know, and try to bottle feed as much as possible rather than, you know, breastfeeding. Like, I want to use breast milk, but I want to do it in bottles so that my husband and I can take turns. If my husband's job has 3 months paid leave for parents, so I'm going to make damn sure that he takes all 3 months. Although the men that he works with are probably going to give him shit about it, but I don't care because I'm more important than those old men. And we're going to establish day one 50-50 childcare. Like, I'm not going to be super mom. So, and we've had many discussions well before we got married when it comes to school closures. We are taking turns with that, and he'll be taking the kid to every other doctor appointment. Like, we're going to keep things to where my career doesn't get damaged because of the motherhood penalty. we equally take on missed work to deal with childcare. By establishing those boundaries early on, men can't act incompetent, or if they do act incompetent, you can kick them right out of your house immediately.
Of his baby mama's house, and he had his son in the back seat, and he was complaining to the camera about how she didn't want to spend time with her own child. Now, this man allegedly did not want to pay child support, so he filed for and received full custody of the child. He was upset because she seemed like she was on vacation somewhere on a tropical island. And he's like, I'm here with our child and you're on vacation somewhere. That's what full custody gets. And the reason why I mention that is because some of you women have made it so easy for these men because you do everything for the child. They think that raising a child is easy. It's like the video that I filmed the other day of the man who was asking his ex-wife if she would do a Instacart delivery for him while it was his turn with the kids because he didn't want to get them up out of bed because they had on their PJs and he promised them spaghetti. And he was like, well, you have Instacart, why don't you do it? And she was like, no, because you have always taken care of the groceries and the laundry and the cleaning and the homework and the bath time and all that. They really think that it's easy, and they don't realize that it isn't until they have to do it when it's their turn to have custody of that child. Let him, because you've done all the heavy lifting. They were only there to sign the birthday card. They were only there to sign their name on the gift that you picked out and bought. Raising a child is about more than you posting them for Father's Day. Some of them don't understand what fatherhood really is until they have that child full time. You ensuring that that man truly understands what it means to be a father isn't about being petty, it's about parenting.
In that case, no, I'm not coming to get them. You took me to court. You damn near made me lose my job.
I cannot tell you how often this happens. It happens so much more often than you think. I was recently talking to a mom who hired another law firm to represent her in a family law case, and she got out litigated, meaning that she could no longer afford to keep paying their attorney's fees and ended up just accepting a settlement from dad. The settlement was that she would have to be the one to pay child support and that she would become the every other weekend parent, right? This mom is not the first and she won't be the last, and I've seen it happen in many cases where dad is now realizing that he actually got the shorter end of the stick. Yes, while he got off of paying child support, any single mom knows that the child support is nowhere near close to the financial obligation that it takes to actually raise children. So what happens next? Dad is asking mom to contribute more than her child support amount. He's asking her to pick up the children during days that aren't in the court order. While I couldn't go back and change what happened, I told her, I was like, now this is a part of the consultation where I just give you perspective, mom to mom, not lawyer to mom. And the perspective is you go be the fun weekend parent now, because you know damn well that these kids have only known one version of you, and that version was survival. That version was you working all the time while you handed the kids off to dad every other weekend for him to be the fun parent. It is your turn. And now mom is the fun weekend parent to these teenagers that she has, right? And she's getting her money up because now all she's doing is paying the child support amount. She doesn't actually have to contribute any more financially. Well, dad thought that he achieved this really big win by getting custody of the children and triggering mom more importantly, right? He knew it was going to trigger her, and her not getting triggered anymore and her fully embracing the non-custodial role as a parent. He was very upset about that. He was like, wait, so my plan didn't work? I completely understand the mom's frustration in this video where she's like, you took me to court, you wanted this, right? And dad's like, why isn't she doing more? Welcome to single motherhood.
I gave my son's dad 80% custody and he lasted 10 days, filed an ex parte to get it back to 50-50, even though he had dragged me to court asking for primary custody. And I know a lot of you are thinking, she's family court strategist, she should have figured this out. But when it's your own case, it's really hard to navigate, especially when you don't have anybody on your side. You don't have your own strategist. You don't have a coach, you don't have a family, and you don't have a lawyer. And you're also raising other kids by yourself. The other two kids I have sole custody of. So let's get into my case so you can actually see what happens and see me more of a human versus somebody who's just got this platform and like a social media influencer, whatever. So I'm just going to give you the general dates of things that had happened so you can see how we got here. And you all can come up with your own conclusions. I met this man when I was 15 or 16 and he was not a minor. You can do with that information as you will. I have him under oath admitting to that. And this man was persistent, we'll say, for over 10 years. So I didn't start dating him in a monogamous relationship with him until I was in my late 20s. By then, I had already had a child from a previous relationship and I had sole custody of her. And he actually knew the dad. So I started dating this man in 2015. My mom had passed away in 2014. As soon as I started dating this man, I can't talk to my family. I have to have my phone transferred to his phone line. Literally all the classic things that we've all heard. About a few months into it, I start having weird feelings and I want to break up with him, even though he had convinced me to move in. So I start having a conversation about wanting to break up. I end up pregnant. You know how that goes. So I go through all these things. We're going to keep it all short, but probably a lot of the same things a lot of you have gone through. I start therapy from home because I'm not allowed to leave the house to do therapy, and he takes his lunch breaks to sit at home and listen to my therapy sessions, even though my therapist had said, don't do that. Let her do her therapy. He wouldn't listen. He also refused to allow me to break up with him. Whole long thing, but even my therapist got involved and said, like, you need to break up with her. You need to let her move out. Like, you gotta let her go, and he wouldn't. So I have a conversation with my dad, and I say, I want to break up with him. I think that there's some things going on. At this time, I still wasn't registering that it was abuse. 2 weeks later, my dad starts coughing up blood, and my dad was rushed to ER. We didn't know he had cancer, and he got diagnosed with terminal thyroid cancer and given 45 days to live. I had decided at this point, I need to put leaving the abusive relationship on hold, and I need to be my dad's hospice nurse because I only have 45 days left, possibly, with my last surviving parent. I go to my dad's house, which is like 10 minutes away. I start caring for my dad while my ex, or now ex, is hacking my social media and messaging other men saying I'm cheating on him, calling me all kinds of names, and like claiming that he is in a relationship with me. Keep that in your mind. So things start happening. My dad passes away. I end up filing a temporary restraining order. I moved 4 hours away. Now, at that point, I was, I guess, invisible homelessness is what some people would mark it as, but I didn't have stable housing. I just had to go somewhere where there was a roof over my head, so I wasn't sleeping in my car or going back to my ex. He knew that I was moving away. It was in the temporary restraining order, the custody, and where I would live. And I also had a conversation face-to-face with him. So I moved 4 hours away, and as I come back to this county to have my hearing for a restraining order, about 2 months later, this man serves me with his own. Says all kinds of things, but again, I didn't live here. I didn't really talk to him. I had been gone for months. Anyways, I had to get a lawyer out of my deceased father's bank account, right? My dad was freshly buried, and I had to go in his bank account as a beneficiary and get the money in order to obtain a lawyer because the judge would not listen to my case without a lawyer. I got a lawyer, and that lawyer basically told me to do whatever dad wanted. And if I gave him 50-50, he would stop. So I did. And we ended up having a agreement signed in 2019. Now, mind you, from November of 2018 to January of 2019, this man had coerced me into moving back and said we could co-parent. If you move back, we can work together. We'll just drop everything. We'll move forward, whatever. And I believed him. I moved back. He wanted us to be in some counseling thing. I agreed. I thought it would kind of like smooth over everything. He had begged me back. I did not want to be with this man. He tried to take me on trips, be back with his family, who also tried to be listed as a witness to take my son away. And I had refused. I started the counseling, and then I realized, oh, he wants me back in a relationship. I don't want to be in a relationship with him. And I stopped the counseling because I don't want to be in a relationship with him. November of 2019, so almost a year later, I started a new relationship because in my mind, I thought that was the only thing that I could do. Mind you, I knew this man since I was like 18 or 19. So by this point, it had been over 10 to 15 years since I had met the man that moved into my house, and I ended up pregnant that week. I know this is all twisted. When you're in the situation, I honestly only got in that relationship because I thought getting another man would get the other one out of my way, leaving me alone. He would finally get it that I'm moving on. I thought it would also help with rent, and I thought I knew this person. Clearly, I was not fully healed. I admit that. I admit wrong choice, okay? Now, this made my son's dad amp up everything. Now, I don't know if it has to do with the man who moved in was black or other things. You decide. A few months into that relationship, that man had threatened to unalive me, unalive my kids, stop paying rent, cheating on me, and involved with every illegal activity that you can think of. I even called the police. They did nothing. So anyways, I got to a point of filing a restraining order. I told my son's dad, hey, can you keep our son? I'm going to go stay at a hotel until I can get this man out of the apartment. He kept our son. He knew what was going on, like just vaguely what was going on. I filed a restraining order against the man who lived with me, granted a temporary restraining order, and 2 weeks later, we had the pandemic shutdown. I had reached out to my son's dad saying, look, we don't know what's going on, right? We all thought this was like the end of the world. And I said, we got to figure out how to co-parent. We got to figure out how to get along. How can we work together? Yada, yada, right? This is in our text. It's kind of like he decided, no, I'm not going to do that. He used every opportunity to threaten court, threaten to take my child away, all kinds of stuff. Then he decided to ask me when I was due with this child. I told him about the week of, we never know when we're going to give birth. And he decided the week before to go to court and file sole custody. So about July of 2020, as I already had my restraining order hearing against the man I was just with and pregnant by and about to give birth to our child, my son's dad decided, I'm going to go tell the court that she is abusing substances, she's an abuser, she has mental health issues, literally everything he could say to try and obtain sole custody. I was never served with any of this, ever. I was never served with any of this. I got a call from the courthouse saying, you have mediation in like a week. And I was like, which dad? Please let me know. And he couldn't, but he could tell me the lawyer's name, which I knew was my son's dad. I rushed to hire any lawyer I could. And that lawyer also told me, basically give him whatever he wanted. We can stop the sole custody part, but anything else that he wants, you should give it to him. And I did. I then found out that he was moving or already sold his house and bought a $700,000 house, even though he claimed he had no money. Throughout the next several years, he bought multiple cars. So he has 4 cars now. He went on several vacations. He has gone everywhere, done everything, you name it. He's done it. All while I'm on government assistance, raising 3 kids total, absolutely by myself, with no partner, no family, no support. I hired another lawyer, and that lawyer took his deposition. That lawyer did discovery. That lawyer was working very hard for me. But that was about $50,000. We never saw trial. It went from a week on, week off schedule to I had Monday, Tuesday, Dad had Wednesday, Thursday, and we rotated weekends. Dad was still pushing forward on sole custody though. So we still had court. All while he was making unilateral decisions. There was a lot of medical issues. There was a lot of other things that he was not following and the way that he was speaking to me. So I was kind of pushing back on this saying, you know what, maybe I should have sole custody. And his lawyer was trying to drop everything. I got a job opportunity and was going to move back to Southern California and said, you know what, you can have 80% custody. I'll have 20%. Let's just screw court, sign this, whatever. And he did. That was March of 2023, and the primary custody was supposed to start in June, because that's when my other kids were ending school, and that was going to align with my lease ending and all of that. He had June 8th to June 18th, and then it would start my 20%, and then he would have the school year. He would also be able to unilaterally enroll him in anything and all of that. Now, during this time, I also filed another restraining order because the police told me to, because when I went and reported other things that had happened, they told me to. Now, the detective that I met with deleted the intake interview, told me that I was lying about everything, and said I was just using it to get my kid back, which was not true. The case that was supposed to go to the DA, poof, went missing in transit, and they refused to send it again. And Detective Elizabeth Place decided to tell me that it was too much work for her to look through all the evidence that I finally gave her, so she just didn't do it. About June 27th, 2023, I got an email from his attorney saying, you need to give your child back today or we're going to charge you with sanctions. What the fuck? And they took me back to court saying that we needed to go back to 50-50, and the judge actually told me that I was manipulative by following the 80-20. Even though we had gone through court this many years because he wanted the primary custody. So we're still going through it today.